There's a man over there into the music scene, showing lots of love for the community with great advice. I know who I should go see. So Around Town Radio Show is where.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to lunchtime here at All Around Town Radio. I'm Scott Hall, your host, and we're going to talk today with some fellas about a great event going on this weekend known as the Queen City Blues Fest. We're going to get right to it because we have a lot to talk about. There's a big lineup for this one. Let me bring these guys into the program here. I've got Adam with me. How you doing, Adam?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Good to have you with us. And Mason Johnson, he's been on before on the program. You may know him from the famous CFB and the Family. Yes. How you doing, Mason?
Pretty good. How are you doing, Scott?
Notice I threw that famous part in, man. Have to. Hey, Adam, you reached out to me a while back about this event, and thank you for doing that. I've done a little research on the lineup you have, and what an amazing lineup it is for this one-day event that's going to happen in Newport. And let's get right to it here and talk about why you're doing this and what's happening here with the Queen City Blues Fest.
Yeah, certainly. So the Queen City Blues Fest is sponsored or put on rather by the Queen City Blues Alliance. It was founded back the fall of 2018. Kind of it's just an offshoot to focus on more of the local bands, promoting the local blues acts and blues artists rather than staging kind of a bigger event where you bring in more regional acts or national acts for that matter. So we did our first event back in April of 2019. We started that event. We literally, I think, went in with it with $500, and we pretty much hoped and prayed we turned a profit to pay the bands, which we did, and made some money, and put that forward to the next one we did in November of 2022. That was supposed to be in 2020, and then COVID happened and delayed it. So it ultimately went off last November with an even bigger crowd and an even bigger lineup and so on and so forth. So we thought, let's do it a third time, and did it in November because we thought November worked pretty well last time. But as prior to the first two as well, we have 9 acts, 3 rooms, 3 stages. This year in the lounge room, kind of the main bar room off to the right when you walk in, we have Jimmy D. Rogers, keyboard player out of the Dayton area. Micah Kesselring, an acoustic blues guy out of the Dayton area as well. And then the Sunny Hill Trio rounding out that room. A 3-piece electric act will close it off. When years past, it was all acoustic or keyboard.
I'm going to see if I can get that up on the screen, too, while you're talking here, if we can, so people can see this lineup and a little more about the event there. Go ahead.
Certainly. And then we have the upstairs room, which the venue calls the Revival Room. We're going to lead that off with Mr. Man and the Mojo Band, followed by the Mojo Blues Cats, and then rounding out upstairs with Prestige Grease. And then the other stage, which is the main stage, the Sanctuary Room, we have a band coming out of Columbus, Ohio, the Sean Booker Band, followed by local band Johnny Fink and the Intrusion, and then closing that room out with Mason's band, CFG, and the Family.
So we'll get back to that lineup later, too. We'll throw it back up there again. So I want to show some pictures that you sent me of the bands that are playing as well so people can be familiar with them. But that's a hefty, lofty goal to have that many acts in one place. So when you come in, you buy a ticket, you can go anywhere, right? You can just roam around. You can go to different rooms, or how's that work?
Yeah, so we have the whole venue. Southgate House is 3 rooms, 3 stages. 1 ticket gets you into all the rooms. The music's staggered. So the first act kicks off at 6 in the lounge, and then upstairs it starts at, I think, 6:15, and then in the Sanctuary it starts at 6:30. So they play 75 minutes with 15-minute breaks. So the music never stops. It keeps going all night long. You go from one room to the next to the next. So there isn't any downtime for anyone there, really.
So realistically, you can catch every one of these acts if you want to see part of their shows, right? You can bounce around and see all of them. Yeah, I think that's a great way to do an event because everybody has their favorites, obviously. But, if you want to get a little piece of somebody you've never seen, I think that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's the minimum 15 minutes, which it would be in theory, or all the way up to the full 75, I mean, it's to your heart's content, whatever you like. And I mean, and again, the lineup, it's, acoustic, keyboards, kind of bigger, like Mr. Man and the Mojo Band. They're kind of like if you're familiar with Stacy Mitchart, kind of in that vein. Mojo Blues Cats, kind of the tried and true blues. Prestige Grease, they kind of do more like I don't want to call them grungier blues, but kind of heavier blues. And then your Sean Booker Band, they're kind of a bigger band, led by a female singer, so powerful vocals. And of course, Johnny, the Power Trio, and then Mason's band, those guys pretty much do everything as well. So it's a very diverse spectrum of the blues.
All right, I got to say hi to Patrick, Corona, Gina checking in, Gina McCann out there. Speaking of a great blues voice,
Yep.
Randy Eldred, Julie Taylor, thank you for watching today. And again, guys, if you're watching live, thank you. If you're not, you're going to be watching this, and many people will after we're live because lunchtime's a tough time. We want you to write questions in. You can put them in the comments if you have a question about the event. Adam will be sharing this on his page, and they can answer any question you might have or any question you might have for Mason as we talk about him and his appearance, because his band has become a local sensation, most recently winning the chance to go to Memphis for the International Blues Challenge there. And Mason, that's got to be a huge honor, buddy.
Yeah, it's definitely not something we take lightly. We're really excited to go down and participate in that. It's gonna be
Hang on, I was reading a comment. Sorry, I got lost in a comment here. But yeah, Gina, hi, Gina, and Julie said Julie says it's a hump day nooner. Thank you for that, Julie. That's a great comment. We're rolling through this thing though, and I want to talk about Mason's band for a minute because I've seen them so many times. Every time I see them, they get better and better. Every time you go to a CFG and the family show, and that they call it the family for a reason, because their fans or followers are faithful, man. They are at every show. They love this band. They love the energy. I love Casey's energy on stage. And Mason, you've been playing guitar for a long time. How long have you had the itch for the blues, I guess?
I got into blues music when I was like 16, like really got into blues music. I've been a fan of more of that like Southern rock, blues rock kind of sound, getting to that point. But then I got into Albert King and Freddie King and Otis Rush and all these guys, and especially two of them being left-handed, I was immediately intrigued, which is really cool. My godfather really put me onto some good blues music when I was first getting into it, Dave Hussong, and that was kind of the send-off right there.
And why does everybody have King in their name in the blues community is what I want to, they're obviously the big BB King, but I saw a good documentary recently on a guy named Kingfish that was just amazing. I mean, it's like they love that King word in the names of the band there. You got any ideas about that?
I feel like you got to earn it.
Maybe. It sounds like that's a prestigious kind of name for some of those players.
Yeah, definitely.
And Adam, why you choose this lineup? We'll get back to you, Mason, on some things, but I want to know why you chose this lineup, because you've got a sprinkling of great local talent. You've got some talent that reaches out throughout the state and so on further. So why did you choose these folks to play?
Yeah, I mean, we try to spread the wealth. So the first one, I mean, I forget the exact lineup, but we've had two bands play all three. Johnny Fink and Casey's band. CFG plays this year. They played last year, and then the first one, I think they were called something else at that time. I forget. The N2 crew, I believe they were called. But I mean, I've known Casey and Johnny for a long time. I've known Casey since he was in the Magic Lightning Boys, going back to whenever that band was, 2015 or 16. Because long story short, I used to actually have a radio show, a blues rock show on Class X radio that I did for a few years. So that's kind of how I got into the blues scene around here locally. One of my good friends, Jeff Cahill, introduced me to Johnny, and then that kind of snowballed and spiraled, and you meet one person, leads you to the next, and so on and so forth. And, kind of like Mason, my music journey kind of went similar to his when I was a young age. I was real in with Eric Clapton back in like high school. Cream is kind of how I got onto the blues, like the blues rock. And then you see those songs, or hear those songs rather, and then you kind of go backwards down the rabbit hole and you say, well, this was a Sonny Boy Williamson song. This was a Lightning Hopkins song. And then you kind of go on and see that blues, the true blues rather. And you spread from there, and you realize this just plethora of artists in in music that you never would have seen or heard, rather, if you didn't come on to a band such as like Eric Clapton or Led Zeppelin or 10 years after that kind of drew their ethos from the blues. So,
And
I mean,
so many people say that. I talked to so many people about why they were influenced and got into the blues, and many people mention Eric Clapton as their kind of conduit to that, as they picked up on the rock side of thing, or obviously the Southern style, Stevie Ray Vaughan's and people like that kind of suck you in and make you love that kind of music. But this lineup, like I said, it's a pretty hefty lineup, and you said they're playing 75 minutes with a 15-minute changeover. You've got to have some good production people too to put this on.
Yeah, so the Southgate House, they're our host. They have their own sound guys for each room. So we have a back line, so this changeover is pretty seamless. Literally, you finish playing, you walk off the stage with your essentials, your guitars, your pedals, whatnot, and the next band comes on. They plug in, tune up, and they start playing. So like
amazing,
I said,
yeah.
There isn't much downtime, so it's a nonstop event. It's a good bang for your buck, in my opinion.
Gina said, because blues is king. Thank you, Gina. The whole thing, you being a radio host, that's cool to have you on here as well. I hope you can give me a little critique later and see how I'm doing. But we have some fun with this. And, that's the one thing we do here is try to support local. And this is a big local event. And you mentioned Johnny Fink. And I got to say what a class act Johnny Fink is as well. Yeah. And he's one of those guys who has gone for a lot of years, played. He's got a lot of experience, but he also sees the future of the blues music in that, and him joining forces with Gina McCann and doing this little duo they're doing, and then the Johnny and Gina band, as well as his Johnny Fink and the Intrusion, has taken him to all new levels, especially in the local environment. If you guys are watching today, you've never seen Gina McCann sing, go do it. That's all I got to say. I mean, she's been on stage with CFG and the family, and she's one of those people who once you meet her, you love her, and she'll be a fantastic addition to any show that she's out there doing.
Agreed.
So I want to talk about the hours, 6 o'clock till 10:45 p.m. there, and it's going to be at Southgate House in Newport, correct?
Yeah. So the doors open at 5. The music kicks off at 6 and ends roughly at 10:45 in the main stage. Southgate House in Newport, Kentucky, 111 East 6th Street. You can buy tickets ahead of time online, or you can buy them at the door. And it should be a great time. Like I said, this is our third one. Each one's been better than the one prior to it, so we're expecting the same. What's
ticket price for this thing?
It's $20 pre-sale and then $25 at the door.
And think about that, people, too. I mean, people always say, oh, my God, a $20 ticket or a $30. You're getting 9 bands here, first of all, right? I mean, you're getting 9 acts all in one place. You don't have to travel around to go see them throughout the night, get in your car and go to the next venue or whatever. It's a one-stop shop. And I think that's just another plus for this, that just, people can buy into a good night out for $20. Can't go to a movie for that, so that's a great thing. And you only get an hour or so of a movie, or 2 hours. So get out and check this show out down in Newport. And Southgate House is a unique venue from the point of having all the different rooms and the ability to share the intimacy of the small room to the bigger room, where it's more like a concert. I think you've put together a good lineup in a wonderful place. And what made you choose Southgate House? I'll ask you that too.
A couple things. First and foremost, it has the capacity for what we were looking for. Like I said, being a smaller startup, and we didn't have much money to go off of, we didn't have the capacity to book, a bigger venue. I don't want to say a nicer venue, but just a bigger venue. So, if you're familiar with Peter's event, the Cincinnati Blues Experience at the Manor House, that's a phenomenal venue, but it takes some resources to pull that off, which we didn't have at the time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The Southgate House is a great venue. It's local helping local, because the Southgate House, in my opinion, it's a very grassroots venue that is supported by local musicians, and it supports local musicians. So they help us, we help them. It's kind of, a tit for tat, so to speak. And like I said, Morella there, who runs the place, she's easygoing. She's great to work with. We asked to do an event there. She says, sure, let's do it. Let's make it work. And the people love it. And it's kind of just that old school venue. I mean, it's an old church. So what doesn't get more blues from that? I mean, blues, soul music.
Going to church, man. Absolutely. Going to church.
Back home. but it's a great place. I mean, the 3 rooms work great. It's big enough where people can move out and spread around, and it works.
Now there'll be drink available there as well. I would assume, right?
I believe 3 bars, 1 for each room, so you can drink to your heart's content.
Perfect. Sounds great. Let me get back to Mason for a minute. Mason, this whole vibe you guys have going with the blues and CFG and the family. I think Casey's joined us too. I saw him pop up here. And Janice, thank you for being here. Who else? Mark Feldman, thank you for dropping by. I want to hit on that a little bit. You guys seem to have a unique atmosphere or emotion on the stage that you can tell when you guys glance over at each other. You're playing songs, and Casey will be into his stuff like he always is, where he's just blowing the roof off with his vocals, and you guys look at each other, and you do that a lot, Mason, is you just smile at each other. You look like you guys are having a blast. Is it that much fun for you every night you play?
Yeah, I mean, Casey and I have a really good time pretty much anytime we get to play together, just because he and I, there's something about the like non-verbalized interaction that goes on between musicians. It's like that weird synergy kind of thing of like, you become just like a unit. And Casey, from the first day that he and I ever played together at an open jam, it's been that way, mainly because we come from 2 different places in, excuse me, I'm talking all day and now it's catching up with me. So we came from kind of 2 different places, of me being more into this like rock and blues, like Derek Trucks kind of deal, Allman Brothers lane. And he was real bare bones, old school with the resonator and his voice. And his voice, the first time I heard him sing, I was like, yeah, I got to steal that guy somehow. I want to play with that dude. And every time, most of the time, we're trying to steal something from each other, so we play it back to one another, and that's usually when the laughter starts, because we're stealing from one another. But it's fun every time, even when we butt heads, it's still fun.
Well, I saw you guys at River's Edge not too long ago, and that was a hell of a great night, a beautiful night under the stars with the folks there. And I looked out at the audience, and I had the pleasure, thanks to our buddy Hollywood, of being backstage with you and hanging out. But I looked out at that audience, and I was looking at the connection they had with you and with CFG and the family. And they were hanging on the edge of every word, every note you played. You guys, it was like you were connected at the brain. I mean, not only was the band connected, but my God, the audience was just into it so much. And it was out of all the bands that played, I got to say, it was the highlight of the night there. You could tell with the crowd, the hometown crowd loved you guys. So do you feed off that too, Mason? I mean, that's kind of cliche with musicians, but do you feed off that audience looking at you that way? I
mean, to a point, yeah. When I first started playing, I was always stuck in the lane of stay still and look down. And a few people have mentioned that, like, especially from the folks at the Bell, when I first started coming there and playing my part, whatnot. And I didn't really know how to take the reaction from the crowd. But now it's like the more that we start doing it and we start seeing all these people that are coming out, taking the time to come and spend money to either see us or buy merch, or they tell us they're streaming the album and whatnot, like, it feels so good. So it's one of those things that I feel like is seen in the playing more than while it's kind of happening. We go into it fired up from all those people being there, whether it's a crowd that size or 40 people. It's having people that are willing to sit there and listen to us play is what makes it worth it, makes it exciting every time.
Well, I'll get back to Adam here, but I gotta say, I tell a little story on you. You know, I watched you play at the Bell Jam a lot. I was there a bunch, and the one night you came in with your haircut, I was like, who's this new kid on stage who's killing it up there? And all of a sudden I realized he's playing left-handed guitar. That's Mason again. But you shocked me that night with that haircut, man. It was, it was like this long-haired kid used to come in here and just slay it. And now there's a new one on the block. And you were having so much fun there, and the jam is so welcoming there, and I think that's cool. And you guys have done that jam in Hamilton too, the Ham Fam Jam down at North Second and all those things, and that's intimate as all get out there as well. So,
Definitely.
I mean, you know, you're playing with the crowd standing on your feet in that place most nights, and it's tough. But let me pop up there to Adam again. Adam, this is obviously a labor of love for you. You love the blues. You love what you're doing and putting all these bands together in one place. We want to get people out to this event. So what would you do? What would you say if somebody was teetering on the edge of, I got a lot of offers on Saturday night to go do things. What would you tell them about this event that would draw them in and make them want to be there?
I mean, if you're new to the blues, what better opportunity to get diversity and variety of the blues than to come to an event like this? Like I said, nine bands, 9 acts, totally across the spectrum of the blues music. It's the best way to get immersed into the blues, or get a taste of the blues rather. And then if you know these bands, like you mentioned, 9 bands under one roof, that all the bands you like and you know, come see them, come support the bands, come support the venue, and just come support, you know, like I said, we're the Queen City Blues Alliance. We're grassroots. We're a registered nonprofit. We're here to promote the local talent and keep the blues moving and keep the blues growing.
Well, I'm going to run a little family slideshow here real quick if we can. And
Sure.
If you will, just a brief little bit about each one of these players as we pop it up on the screen so people can know them if they've never seen them. And we'll start with the Intimate Room with Jimmy D. Rogers. I've seen him numerous times.
Yes, Jimmy D. Rogers, like I believe he's out of the Dayton area. Great, fantastic keyboard player, tried and true blues.
And then Micah is the next one up.
Micah Kesselring, he's out of the Dayton area as well, I believe a little east of Dayton to be specific. Fantastic blues player. He's actually coming to us from this gig, straight from a gig in West Virginia. So that's how much he wants to be at this gig.
Fantastic. And then next one up here is Sunny Hill Trio.
Sunny Hill Trio, great, fantastic trio, tried and true blues, closing out the main room for us. Like I said, this is new for us this year. The past 2, we had just single or duo acts in the lounge, so we're doing a full electric trio in the lounge to close it out this year.
Perfect. And next up,
Mr. Man and the Mojo Band upstairs. Great band, little bigger band. In terms of blues, not a power trio, but they do kind of like the more of the fun, livelier blues songs, I would say. Not so much the, you know, hard rock, quote unquote, serious songs, but songs that'll make you want to dance, get up and move.
I think I'm in order here. That looks like
it's fine. They actually play. You're in the same room. Let's put it that way.
okay.
Prestige Grease, great band. Kind of the heavier, grungier rock songs, or blues songs rather. They do quite a few covers, but I mean they put their own blues twist on them. So if you've never seen them play, they're fantastic. If you're lucky, you'll get to hear them play "Kashmir" by Led Zeppelin, and it'll blow your socks off. But
Nice.
I've only heard them play it once, so it's kind of a running joke because my friend who introduced them to me said, "Oh, you got to see this band. They're great. They play Kashmir," and I heard it once, and then every time I ask them to play it, they either do it out of jest not to play it when I ask, or they just don't want to play it. But if you're lucky, they'll play it and it'll be great. Mojo Blues Cats, they are tried and true blues band. They play all the traditional blues, I would say. Great band. If you like true Chicago style, old school blues, that's the band for you.
All right, let's keep moving here.
And the Sean
Moving to
Booker
the-
band.
That's the big room, right? The sanctuary room.
Sanctuary. They're kicking off the sanctuary room for us. They're our kind of regional act out of Columbus, Ohio. Bigger band led by Sean Booker, the female lead singer. She's fantastic. If you've never heard her, they just won their blues challenge, so they're actually going to Memphis as well this coming beginning of next year.
Man, I saw some videos of her. She can sing.
Oh,
She
she's
is
got some
awesome.
fight. Yep.
Outstanding. Then a local favorite.
And yeah, then Johnny Fink, he needs no introduction. They're a fantastic power trio. All 3 of those guys are great. In my opinion, in terms of a showman and promoter, Johnny's it in this city.
Yeah, he's badass. Johnny Fink is not only a great performer on stage, but a great person, and
Yep.
good to get to know there if you ever have a chance. And then finally, rounding that night out, look at this bunch.
This motley crew, CFG and the family. Like you said, they need no introduction. Casey and Mason and the boys. If you like blues, if you like funk, if you like soul, all wrapped into one, that's the band for you.
Yeah, and the solid backbone of that band too, with Pete and Greg back there,
Oh.
just absolutely laying it down all night long.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
The real-
those guys are good. They are, and they're great people as well. And I love the vibe. I think Pete's the ultimate hippie. You know, I love watching him play, and you know, he comes out on the stage. It could be 40 below, and he's barefoot and playing drums, and it just cool stuff. It's great. So let's recap this thing if we can. It's called Queen City Blues Fest, right?
Yeah.
I'm money there,
Queen
and
City
it's
Blues
happening
Fest.
this Saturday.
This coming Saturday, November 4th. Music kicks off at 6. Doors open at 5.
Again,
$20.
that's Southgate House in Newport.
Correct. Southgate House Revival, Newport, Kentucky. Pre-sale, if you choose to do pre-sales, $20 online, or day of sale at the door is $25.
And if you go to www.ticketweb.com, you can search for the event on there, and you'll find the link. if you
Yeah,
want.
Queen City Blues
It's
Fest.
really- yeah,
It'll pull it up.
easy to do. What else you got to share today, fellas? Anything?
I mean, it's cold outside, but it's sunny.
Hey, I'll add
It's-
something real quick.
Really?
Hey, real fast. Hey,
Hold on. Let's zoom in on Mason. here
as
if
one
we
of the
can.
musicians for this, I also want to give a big thanks while I got Adam on here to Adam, because this is one of those events. I talk about this every time we do one of these like multi-band or multi-musician events where we all actually get to hang out for a little bit, because most of us are playing every Friday and Saturday. So huge thanks to you for giving us all another opportunity to have some camaraderie, hang out a little bit, and get to try and steal some licks off of each other. So
Hey, you guys do all the work. We just put it on. We just give you a stage for your art, and everyone else is in awe. I mean, that's what it's there for. You guys, it's the music scene, the local music scene is great because everyone's there to help everybody. I mean, what better way than to share music and share the joy is to go see live music and spread the good word. I mean, music is love. I mean, I think David Crosby said that, and it's to the point.
And I think Bill's comment's very good here. He says, love the blues. We've been blessed with headliner talent in the tri-state, and that's a fact. I mean, when CFG and the family can go to Memphis and compete against the best in the country, and they were selected locally here to do that, that's a hell of an honor, guys. And I'm looking forward to supporting you in that. I'd love to even get down there and see that. And that'd be a fantastic trip to take. And it's so cool. We are blessed, and the blues community here locally is one of the best. And it doesn't matter which group you're with or whatever. I mean, there's several other groups out there that put on blues events. It's all still for the same cause, and it's for the music and the love of music. And I think that's the cool part about it. And nobody gets hung up. There's not a lot of egos in the blues community. I'll tell you that when it comes to music, these people give, they play. And Adam, you've done a great job of putting this together. That's one hell of a lineup, man. That's a lofty goal.
Yeah, I mean, no one's in this, promoter or artist, in my opinion, in the city. You're not in this to make money. You do it because you love the music and you love the people. I mean, that's what it's about. Like you said perfectly, it's a labor of love. If I was here to make money, I'm in the wrong business. Let's put it that way. But this
aren't we all?
camaraderie, for fun, for just to spread the word. I mean, that's what music is. It brings people together. It's a great uniter. It shouldn't be a divider.
Thank you, Mark Feldman, Jamie Carband, absolutely, and J. Jesse Johnson. I saw him just 2 weeks ago. He was absolutely slaying it, and another guy that's got that great bluesy sound here locally as well. And we'll give them big shout outs. Yep. And Julie says, great performers and people. Thank you for that. Adam, I want to thank you, man. Let's get everybody out and get them there. We're going to hit the share button on this show, people, if you will. And Mason, throw that on your page, if you will. If you're managing that CFG page, I don't know who is, but
depends on the day.
Get on it. All right, Casey, you hearing me, man? Get it on there. And Adam's going to share it as well. And guys, if you're watching late, comment. And if you have a question about the event, we didn't really cover parking or any of that stuff. I mean,
yeah, parking is Newport, so it's kind of find your own parking. There's street parking. If you're familiar with Mansion Hill Tavern, which is right around the corner from the venue, there's a big lot there you can usually park at. So parking's never been an issue in the past. So it's pretty much find your own parking.
Gotcha. And Newport's easy to navigate, people. It's easy to get there. It's easy in and out. And just get on out to this. I mean, it's Saturday night, 6 to 10:45. What time you opening the doors, by the way?
Doors open at 5.
5 o'clock. So you can get there early. You can hang out. You can have an adult beverage or two, and get ready to bounce through this venue and see all these great acts. Because if I'm there, I'd be going to every single one of them. I guarantee you that.
You're going to dance out. You're going to rock out, and everything in between the acts here.
Perfect.
It's something for everybody. And I forgot to mention, but it is an all ages event. So bring your kids if they're into it, if they like it, or you want to expose them to it. Like I said, this is a great opportunity with the amount of bands and the diverse bands we have to show them the blues.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Adam. I appreciate you bringing this to our attention and being on our Wednesday with the band at noon here, our lunchtime edition. Mason, we're going to let you get back to school.
Thanks.
All right. What you're on a work day today, so you're not teaching today, right?
No, I'm actually on a lunching plan period right now, so I will be teaching here shortly. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at him. He looks so excited.
Yeah, it's Wednesday, man. Come on.
There you go. Thank you guys so much. You guys have been a great interview today. Thank you for being here. Look forward to people being there at Southgate House, Queen City Blues Fest, Saturday night, 6 until 10:45, guys. Tickets available at ticketweb.com. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Mason. We're going to get on out of here. We are gone, people. We out. Bye-bye.